Sportsman.
Hello, sportsmen. It's vacation time, and we're actually on vacation this week, but we put a show together for you on videotape that features an interesting turtle hunting trip we took last summer with Nelson Hurst. We caught some nice smallmouth bass on that trip. I'll show you how to fillet a smallmouth bass, a great way to fry them, and proof that a garage sale reel can catch fish in Alaska. So you stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost with tips on how you can become a more practical sportsman.
Because a muskrat could be laying up there, he may bite you.
Now, it doesn't look like they've gotten any of the bait, or have they? Can they eat it?
Oh, yeah, they got a couple.
There he is.
It's a nice turtle. It's a little bit bigger than one we caught the other day.
Well, setting traps for snapping turtles is the conventional way to catch them. Nelson Hurst from Holt sets turtle traps, and he knows how vicious snapping turtles can be. But that does not stop Nelson from hunting turtles a very unconventional way. He likes to catch them with his bare hands. Last August, on one hot day when the water levels were at their end of the summer lowest, Nelson talked me into trying bare-handed turtle hunting for the third time, and I can't say that I really wanted to catch one myself, though. I did bring the fishing rod to divert myself from the dangers. Well, actually, Nelson told me to bring an ultralight rod along because there would be fish in this little creek that flowed somewhere up in Michigan's thumb country. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the drag ain't on.
Make a believer.
Just take your time.
Well, isn't that awesome? I just walked up through there.
Wait a minute. Just bring it over here to the shore.
Have we seen it yet? Oh, it's a bass.
Nice bass.
I guess it's a nice one. Jeez. This is unbelievable.
No, just take it easy.
No kidding. Sean Ritter hooked this bass not 5 minutes into this trip. We could see the road from here. That is incredible.
Hold right in the sun there. Yeah, that's amazing.
That is a big bait, considering the size of this stream.
Yeah.
Cool. Isn't that the darndest thing? You know, I just walked up right by there. Well, this wasn't a fishing trip. It was a turtle hunting trip. I couldn't believe that a tiny creek like this would actually hold big fish. Here's why there's bass in here. I mean, see how deep this is? And this is all gravel and rocky on the bottom. So that's why they're in here. Geez, you'd never know that there was a hole like that. This murky water. That's pretty cool. Well, we were just walking and casting little lures in little pockets of water. This bass had been living all summer in a hole that wasn't any more than 2.5 feet deep. Can you believe this? Holy cow. We are knocking him. This, well, he's covered with weeds right now, but I just caught a little pike. This is incredible. I thought I was hooked on the weeds. Well, I guess I was partly. Now there's a cute little fish, just like the big ones. I tell you, it's already a slime producer. Get that hook up, but it hit right on that. There we go. Little northern pike. But you can see down there, look at the rocks on the bottom, John.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes this good fishing. Woo! Isn't that something? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Who would have ever guessed?
Looking off that bridge, not in a million years.
You'd never.
I didn't even get a hit off that bridge.
You'd never guess. Well, we caught 2 fish from the first 2-foot hole we came across not 100 yards from the road. You know, little creeks and drainage ditches like this crisscross throughout Michigan, and in late summer, they don't have much of a water flow. Fish are concentrated in the holes where they're easy pickings for predators as well as for fishermen. Now, we not only found fish, but we found crustaceans and mollusks.
Yeah, there. Nice clam. Sign of a pretty good stream that's not too bad polluted for these to be living.
Oh, you mean a clam? This looks like a pretty large one.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Raccoons like these.
Yeah, we'll probably see a pile of shells around here someplace pretty soon where they've been out digging after them.
Yeah, this is an amazingly rocky stream. There's some deep holes in it. But that isn't good for turtles, is it, or is it?
Yeah, it's all right. This stream here, over the years, has produced a lot of turtles. It's not that bad. Plus, you got a lot of feed. It's a lot of fish, a lot of crayfish, a lot of minnows. We heard frogs when we came down. So, I mean, everything's here for them.
Turtles don't eat live things, though, do they? They just eat dead things?
No, they eat live. They like them live. They're kind of like humans. They like to have their dinner, fresh.
But they can catch fish.
And what they do is they can catch them, but what they do is they'll take a bite out of one. The fish get away, but it'll die. And then they'll be attracted to the smell of that dead fish, so they'll eat it. They're really a carrion eater, but they'll eat these weeds in here. Doesn't make any difference. They'll eat anything.
Well, what are you looking for to find them? I mean,
undercut banks, drift piles, just any place where they can crawl up and get underneath. As long as a lot of times if they can get their head under something, they think they're hid.
Okay, let's talk about this right now before we go any further, before I stick my hands down here. Is this a good kind of day when they have their heads in, as opposed to where they're feeding and have their heads out?
Yeah, provided they got enough to eat the night before.
Okay, it should have been a good feeding night last night.
Should have been.
Okay, so...
But it was kind of cool, so it might have slowed them up.
But we're counting on them burrowing in,
Yeah.
and their tails out.
Yeah, they'll be burrowed in, tails out.
Now, when you feel down in the water, and if I feel down there, what should I feel for?
No, Fred. You had that wrong.
I know, I said
The
if,
word
didn't I?
if.
I know.
If in there.
I'm going to do it. What am I feeling for? How do I do this?
You want to keep your hand just like this on the bottom.
Oh, on the bottom?
Yeah. And you go pretend this rock here is the bottom. You want to keep your hand just like that, right on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Because that way, if he does bite, half the time, he won't get a hold of you. If you leave your finger spread like this, he's going to get you right here.
Okay, so we don't like that.
No. When you feel him, you'll know that it ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you touch the shell.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you hit the skin, you'll know. And then you come right up and try to get on top of the shell, and then you feel for the jagged edges. And if you get to the end of the shell and it's real smooth,
Oh, no, that's
you
the wrong
shouldn't go
end.
no farther. You
That's
should
right.
back up and get to it.
Okay.
We'll get you.
Well, folks, how'd I do? Did I look like I was paying attention, like I was really going to put my hand way back underneath a muddy bank?
You want to remember, Fred, that when you get back in here, you don't want to bring your hand out of the water. If you run to where there's no water, there's no turtle. They won't crawl up.
This is not a safety tip.
Yeah, it's a safety tip.
Oh.
Because a muskrat could be laying up there. He may bite you underneath there.
Funny how these part of the story come out as we go, of the dangers. Now, this doesn't look bad, so I'll put my hand down.
No, you did it wrong. You bounced it along.
I know
right
it, I know
flat. Shut your fingers.
Oh, yeah. And how fast do you move?
Oh, just slow. If you ever watched a turtle, even when you're teasing it, he doesn't strike all the time. In the water, he's even less.
This is marvelous information. Well, I don't think it would be accurate to say that I'm an aggressive snapping turtle hunter. I prefer looking for harmless turtles in open water. You know, the small ones that pull their heads back into their shells? It's a Blandings. It's a Blandings turtle. Disappeared. I wish snappers would do that. That would make it a lot easier.
Now, see, they're on the endangered
Yep.
species in Michigan.
Yeah, they tuck their tail right in there. Now, is that what a snapper does?
No. Well, he'll curl his tail along the side when he's in the water, yeah.
But they don't have a shell like this that they can get
it's-
into.
No, it's soft. See, touch him. That's how you'll tell when you get around one, or back or in the back.
Okay.
Feel the skin. Stick your finger. It won't shut on you.
Yeah, that doesn't collapse, does it?
No.
That's fixed. But they do have claws. Look at those fingernails
yeah,
they
they
got. But they're not, they won't snap at you?
Well, if you stick your finger and antagonize him, you probably will.
Try touching his nose there, Sean.
He sucked it in farther.
Well, he can,
So
but he
that's-
will bite you.
So you put your hand along the bottom and you feel for shell.
Well, yeah, right here. See, when you get back here in the back, there you got a little bit of a ridge. That's what you're going to look for when you see the snappers, that indentation. because you have little points stick out.
See, when I feel something like this is when I scream. Nelson! Well, there's the Blandings turtle. He was right out in the open. That was easy. I think I'm going to try this just a second. I'm going to take my hand, go down.
You better go quick because he's gone.
He's gone, okay. He's probably turning around and has his mouth open. Well, so far, no snapping turtles under the banks, just a Blandings turtle, the kind you often see sunning themselves on logs that stick out into the water along the shores of lakes and ponds. We also saw quite a few crayfish scuttling along the bottom and clusters of baby crayfish. A lot of critters eat crayfish besides fish. Raccoons, for example. In one area, we came across a huge school of baby bullheads, or maybe they were channel catfish. I don't know, catfish of some type that huddled under the duckweed, trying to stay in the shade, hidden from kingfishers and great blue herons and all the other things that eat little fish trapped in small creeks.
That's a good one, eh?
I've seen it flash.
Yeah, they like those gold floating with flowers. Other pike?
Yeah.
Well, this is a hot spot and a half.
This one's a little bit bigger, too.
Yes, it is.
Trying to be nice to the guy. Host there. No, he was. Well, I'm going to tell you something. There's a bad one in here.
Oh man, look at that.
Come on. There is a bad one.
Boys.
Jeez. What do you make of that? That's fairly fresh.
Yeah.
Let's see that. Tell the
That
turtle you
is-
can't, but just like that is fine.
Well, I don't know. It looks, maybe that is kind of scarred, but what do you
That's
make
all
of that?
fresh.
Jeez.
Now, he's what, 18 inches?
Yeah.
I figure whatever had him for dinner is probably in the
Yeah.
30-inch range.
Mm-hmm. Well, looking back, I don't think those were teeth marks. I think they were claw marks from the talons of an eagle or an osprey. So this wasn't supposed to be a fishing trip. We were supposed to be yanking snapping turtles out from under the muddy banks the way Nelson showed me in 1992 on a stream in Clinton County. Oh, that was exciting.
Hey, you're in there with two hands. I don't think so. See. Uh-oh, here we go. Oh! Awesome. Look at that. Oh, no. Nelson. Way to go.
I knew what it was as soon as I hit it, but I couldn't tell whether I had him by the head or what.
Where was he? How was he?
I hit him here.
Right in the tail?
Yeah, but he had his tail curled.
Well, snapping turtle can tear a chunk out of your hand in one bite, so why would I stick my hand into a place where a snapping turtle would hide? I'll be giving my orders here to check the log from this side. Fingers together, flat. There's a stick.
No, there's nothing there.
I get a little jumpy. The other stick down. I don't know.
You got to do this without thinking. Well, what they say about dogs is not true about snappers. They don't bark, they just bite. This summer, I'll try it again, though. Well, fishing, I mean. We've already got some new video on turtles for the coming season, and we're going to try for more in August. You know, I get a lot of people asking about how to fillet fish. Just happened to have done a segment a few years ago that illustrates one way. I mean, there are other ways, but this is one way to fillet a smallmouth bass. So you cut behind the fin and right along the top of the backbone, as close as you can. And this just takes practice, but you can feel it with the tip of the knife. And you go down to the top of the rib cage as you're cutting. You do need a good sharp knife, which sometimes you might want to sharpen it once or twice while you're doing this. Now, right here, did I goof on this? Trying to feel the backbone. I think I got on the other side of the backbone. Here's a little learning situation here. You got to go back and stay on the top side of that backbone, of the spines that come off of the backbone, and then you go all the way through down to the tail. and then come back and go over the ribs. Now they're oftentimes right there, I cut through some small bones that come off the ribs. These little bones, when you fry them up, will disappear. I mean, you won't even know that they're there. But you do have to cut through them. So there's one. I'll go ahead and take this off at this time. One fillet. And the other one, a little more difficult now that this is lying flat along the board. And the difficulty is in getting your knuckles, that your knuckles hit and you can't get down close enough. You're cutting at an angle on that backbone. This is why I don't like to take that off. So you need a knife, you need to come off of the edge of the board actually, cut like that. Now I can go through, feel along the top of the backbone. Now here we'll take it, I'll go ahead and cut all the way through like some people do. The problem I'm going to have is just starting to cut the fillet meat off of the, or skin it. Now you see this meat that I left along there? That's because my knuckles were high and I was cutting at an angle. That's why I like to leave the meat on both sides while I'm cutting along the backbone and the ribs. See, and I left some meat in here too. Ah, that irritates me. See if we can go back and get that morsel. And then cut right through. Skinning, when you have the fillet laying by itself, you have to start with just use the tip of your fingernail and hold to get it started like that so you can get a grip. Now I'll show you another trick that some people do, is that they'll insert their knife in there, cut a little slit. That way they can put their finger through the slit. Gives them something to grab onto when they pull the skin. So a couple different techniques right there on the skinning. But there it is, fillet of smallmouth bass, terrific eating. Hands are dirty, fillets are dirty, but we'll clean them up. Tom Boakes from Rochester Hills sent us a super recipe for frying up fillets. He likes to use perch, and what he does is mix 3 eggs with a half cup of sour cream and some salt and pepper to make an egg wash. He rolls the fillets in flour, then into that egg mixture. Then he rolls them in breadcrumbs, so this is a super duper breading. Fry the fillets in a little oil for 2 or 3 minutes on each side for perch, longer for bass or walleye if the fillets are thicker. Then Tom makes a dipping sauce by combining a half cup of ketchup, a half cup of mustard, and a half cup of beer. Try to top this for a way to serve fillets. It's amazingly tasty. That's Tom's fried perch recipe.
Oh, it's a big one. It's a big one. Reel your line in.
Big salmon, small boat. 2 Michiganians are sharing this adventure in Alaska. Jennifer Dubois from West Olive is working the camera. Her friend Matt has hooked the big salmon, and he looks like he's done this before. His technique of pumping the rod back, reeling quickly as he lowers the rod, but keeping the rod bent so there's tension on the line at all times, that's a sign of an experienced angler. Jennifer and Matt had a chance to travel to Alaska and videotape their adventures. Now, there's not a more beautiful place to be than in the mountains of our 51st state. The most gorgeous place I can think of to fish for salmon. Matt has reeled the line in up to the flasher, which is just a few feet ahead of the lure. That big salmon, that's just under the surface.
I'm not getting drugged by fish. Oh my gosh.
This fish isn't dragging just anybody around this Alaskan lake. He's dragging one of the original practical sportsmen, a guy who watches his money, figures out how to hunt and fish in exotic places without overspending his budget.
Think that one's big enough?
Matt adjusts the drag on his reel, a reel that not everybody would put a lot of confidence in. That reel has been around.
What reel you got on there?
Oh, the old one I got at the garage sale for $5.
Nice.
A $5 reel.
That's Oh, custom. It's getting pretty rusty, but it's doing the job right now.
The man has confidence in his $5 reel. You will never see this on any other fishing show in America. The reels they use on the other shows all cost top dollar, but they don't sing like this one. Some people might find a squeaky reel to be annoying, but a $5 reel just likes to talk to you when you crank it. Now comes the tricky part of this adventure, netting the fish with one hand and holding the camera with the other.
Okay, hold on. You gotta net, when he comes in, you gotta net him head first. Yeah, you wanna net him head first. Kind of scoop up underneath him.
Netting a big salmon is not easy, even if you're using two hands. The net is big and not that easy to maneuver in the water. And the fish is big and powerful and fights to avoid the net at all costs.
We'll fall off the boat.
As the big fish gets tired, it lets Matt work it around in a circle beside the boat. The idea is to control the fish, lead it around in a circle so that one of these times, when the fish is high enough in the water, it can be led into the net.
Oh my God, it's huge. It is huge.
Nope.
Nope.
Around and around we go, waiting for the right time.
This is gonna be a really heavy fish, so don't let go of the net. Hold on.
Everything is holding up. The $5 garage sale reel is working admirably. The rod, the line, the hooks, everything seems to be holding.
Okay. See.
Head first.
Okay, I'll bring him right up next. Oh, no. Boy, this is a tough one.
You want me to do it?
Well, kinda. I mean, shit. Oh, you got here. You can't eat.
Might knock the hook out.
This has to be perfect.
Finally, the fish tires out, lies on its side, then explodes into the net.
Give me the net. I got it. I got it. I got it.
Well, Jennifer did well juggling her video camera and the net. Matt did well landing his trophy salmon on his $5 reel, and this concludes another episode of Jennifer's Alaskan Adventures.
Buddy Boschers from Battle Creek caught a lake trout from Lake Michigan. This was off Van Buren County, a dandy lake trout. You got this May 7th. So
Right.
tell me, you were, okay, hold on. You're fishing with a wiggler,
Right.
so I bet you're on the pier.
No, I was fishing in a boat, perch fishing.
Oh,
Yep.
perch
and,
fishing in May. That's when they catch jumbo.
Yep. We caught probably 22 perch, and there was probably 30, 40 boats, and threw out, and next thing I know, my rod tip bounced and then went straight to the bottom. 45 minutes later, I seen the fish. 15 minutes later, we landed it.
So
So
that
about
was
an hour battle.
Hour. Now, so what kind of rig were you using? An ultralight?
Yeah, ultralight, 9-foot noodle rod with 6-pound test, 2 years old. Number 8 bluegill hook, still right in the mouth.
Oh, no kidding, that is. Oh, look at that hook. Will that come out? Was that where it was hooked?
That's where it was hooked.
No
And
kidding.
I had some people that were watching me. They were fishing Lakers, and they caught one smaller one, and they videotaped the last 3 minutes of this battle.
No kidding.
Yep.
Well,
And,
we'd like to look at that
I've
sometime.
got it here.
Hey, buddy, we'll do it.
All righty.
Congratulations
very much.
on a bluegill hook.
Yep.